Okay, so A Clockwork Orange is one of those films that have reached an almost mythical status in the movie industry. The movie was released in 1971 and directed by the legend and one of my favorite directors of all time, Stanley Kubrick. And yes, I know how basic that sounds. If you ask anyone out there top 5 directors, Stanley Kubrick is definitely going to be in that list. I was about 15 years old when I watched the movie for the first time, and from the very first frame the movie hooks you, especially with that very synth music, that bang. Guys, I just remembered I have this bowler hat, so I'm gonna put it on mid-review. There you go, that's it. Oof, ready for some of the old ultra-violence. We get our introduction to Alex, who is our protagonist and is narrating throughout the entire movie, which is actually a genius way to make you sympathize with him. Alex is a monster. He's a psycho, but him narrating the story to us makes us almost complicit. It's inviting, and it's like he's talking to you in a very confessional way. After the introduction, the first half of the movie is probably the most iconic and recognizable part. Now, the entire story is set in a future, but it feels very timeless. The architecture and locations look very futuristic, but at the same time, from a very close future from what would be that world of that time. During this first part, we follow Alex and his droogs committing acts of what they call ultra-violence and culminating in them breaking and entering into a couple's house and doing some of the old in-out, in-out.
Out, in, out, in, out.
I cannot talk about this movie without talking about Malcolm McDowell's performance as Alex DeLarge, because he carries the entire movie on his shoulders. And for as horrible as Alex and the stuff he does is, McDowell's performance is very, very charming and charismatic. So much in fact that you cannot help to feel bad for the guy when what happens to him happens later on in the film. After being betrayed and caught and sent to prison for 14 years, he spends 2 of them just dreaming of doing fucked up shit again. He has not gotten better at all. It's like being bad is a drug for him. He cannot stay away from it. He just wants to do fucked up shit all the time. He's in his nature. So he willingly submits himself to the Ludovico treatment. What is the Ludovico treatment? Well, basically is a brainwashing therapy. They recondition him to be good, even though he just did it to get off prison early. And that's where we get this iconic scene, which you've probably seen referenced everywhere. Here is where we get the movie's main theme, which is free will. And the argument the movie makes is that it's better to be willfully bad than forcefully good, which takes away your ability to choose whether to be good or bad. And at that point, are you really good because you're good or because you have to, because you cannot be anything else? And that is why Alex is not the bad guy of the movie. Even though his actions are horrible and unjustifiable, he is just a puppet for the government and science. Kubrick clearly meant for this movie to be an extremely dark comedy and satire of the government and its institutions, but sadly, short after the movie's release, some copycat criminals started imitating the crimes they saw on the movie, and they had some direct correlations to the movie. But here comes the age-old question: does life inspire art, or is it the other way around? Well, in this case, Anthony Burgess, the guy who wrote the book the movie is based on, actually based the story on an event that directly happened to him when 4 individuals broke into his house and forced themselves on his wife. Pregnant wife, by the way. So, addressing the question, in my opinion, it's definitely life that inspired art in this case. Although I think it's a cycle. Life inspires art, art inspires life, and so on. There's no starting point in this at this point. It's all like a big mesh. If Alex is the protagonist, Beethoven is his co-star. The music in this movie is spectacular, and especially Beethoven's music is essential to the plot and permeates throughout the entire story, serving different purposes and just creating a very distinct atmosphere for the movie. It's just a very identifiable feel to it. I mean, you can't really go wrong with Beethoven, honestly. This beautiful music being juxtaposed next to images of extreme violence is very powerful, and it messes with your brain almost in the same way that the Ludovico treatment messes with Alex's brain. Also, the way this movie is shot, you could pause the movie at any point and just put that frame up in your living room. Easy. It's that meticulously prepared. Every shot is just perfection. Kubrick was famous or infamous for crafting this very meticulous, just brilliant shots, and he would put his team through hell to get them. But it was worth it. It's beautiful. I highly recommend this movie. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's a classic. If you've seen it, watch it again. It's worth a rewatch. I've watched it 2 times for this video and I absolutely adore it. This movie is an undisputable masterpiece with something to say, and it's as relevant today as it ever was, and I fully recommend it. Let me know down in the comments below, have you seen this movie? Let me know what you think about the movie. Let me know what you think about the images you've seen about the movie. It's a great piece of work. Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts on the movie. Remember to follow me at caffeine.prince98 on Instagram and at NJUltraFlickShow on TikTok. I don't have Twitter because I hate it, and Facebook is for the family. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.